crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made this storage box. The idea is from Crafty Caroline, who's another Stampin' Up demo. She did a video on YouTube a little while ago showing how to make this. This is her idea. She did hers so that it was for storing our designer series paper stacks, and she showed how to do the dividers and everything that go inside. Mine's actually going to be used for my embossing folders because they fit in there nicely as well. Caroline's video was seen by one of my subscribers who asked if I would make my version of it, which this is it. The only difference is all the measurements and everything are the same as Caroline's. The only difference is I've worked out how to do the matting for this side piece here. I've worked with figures, with numbers, all my work in life, so I enjoy playing around with figures to come up with answers for things like that. So to start off with, I will tell you the card pieces that you're going to need. I will put a link to Caroline's website in the box below. Right, so the card stock you're going to need, 2 pieces of Pool Party which measure 8 1/4 inches by 8 3/4 inches, which is 20.9 by 22.2 centimetres. 2 pieces of Whisper White cardstock which measure 6 1/8 inch by 6 1/8 inch, which is 15.5 by 15.5 centimetres. 2 pieces of designer series paper stack which measure 6 inches by 6 inches, which is 15.2 by 15.2 centimetres. A piece of Whisper White which is 1 7/8 by 3 3/8 inches, which is 4.7 by 6 centimetres. A piece of designer series paper which measures 1 3/4 inches by 3 1/4 inches, which is 4.4 by 5.7 centimetres. Another piece of Whisper White which measures 1 7/8 inches by 6 1/8 inches, which is 4.7 by 15.5 centimetres. Another piece of designer series paper which measures 1 3/4 inches by 6 inches, which is 4.4 by 15.2 centimetres. You will also need 1 piece of 6 1/4 by 6 1/4 cardstock for every insert that you want, every divider that you want. The tabs you will be able to punch out, out of the scrap that you get from these pieces here. I will make one of the tabs to show you how it's done. But as I say, I'll be using mine for my embossing folders. So first of all, we'll do the... Whoops, didn't mean to drop that on the floor. I'll be looking for that later. Right, I'm going to start with the scoring. Right, the first piece, you do need to do both the pieces the same, and you need to start off with the 8 1/4 piece first of all, and you need to score this at 2 inches. Then you turn your cardstock 90 degrees and you score at 1/2 inch and then 2 1/2 inches. Sorry, I've forgotten to give you centimetres. Let's do that again. So on the 8 1/4 inch size, you score at 5 centimetres, turn it 90 degrees and you score at 1.2 centimetres and then 6.3 centimetres. Then you do exactly the same to the second piece. So that's 8 1/4, score at 2 inches, which is 5 centimetres, turn 90 degrees, score at ½ inch, which is 1.2 centimetres, and then 2.5 inches, which is 6.3 centimetres. Right, now with the first piece we need the 8 1/4 across the top with the ½ inch score line down at the bottom. Okay, so that's a ½ inch, that's got to be down at the bottom, and we've got to have the 8 1/4 up the top. On this piece, all you need to do is make a little notch at 5.5. Okay, now with the other piece, you need that so that you have to turn this over the other way actually, so that you've got the 2 inch side down there, that's right, with the ½ inch there and the 2.5 inch across there. Okay, so that's the 2 inch bit coming down on the left hand side. Then you've got the ½ inch going across there, and that's a 2.5 inches. Now on this one you're going to score at 5.5 inches, which is, didn't write that one down. Okay, I'll put the whatever 5.5 inches is in the box below. I can't see anything close enough there to quickly work it out. So 5.5 inches, and you score down to that second score line. Okay, so you may well find, like I have, that I've got I've had to turn mine over so my score lines are going opposite. These ones are mountains and that one's valley, but it doesn't matter. Right, that's all we need to do for the scoring. Now we need a pencil and a ruler. So that's my ruler. In fact, I'm going to need my bigger ruler, my noisy ruler, and my pencil. Now that can't have disappeared, I've been using it all afternoon. Oh, what is it doing all the way over there? Right, so this is the piece where I've got the ½ inch, 2.5 inch, and that's the little score down from the 5.5 inch mark to meet up with there. So what we're going to do is, from where this score line stops on the 2.5 inch, we're going to draw a line from that down to this corner. Okay, so from there down to the corner there. Okay, and then on the other sheet we are going to draw a line from our notch down to where this 2.5 inch score line comes off of our paper. So put my ruler there, my pencil in the notch, and then swing the ruler round, keeping it up against my pencil for my notch, and then I'm going to bring my pencil down like that. Now I'm going to cut those two slanted bits off. The piece I've just done, I'm going to cut from this edge here up to that edge there, so that that triangle comes off altogether. Now on this piece, again we're going to cut on the pencil line, but then we're going to go straight up on that score line, cut that off altogether. Okay. Okay, so as soon as I get to where the two score lines meet, I'm going to go straight down to the edge. Now these two pieces, where's the other one gone? These are the two pieces where you're going to be able to cut your tabs out of. I managed to get 3 out of that one, and I managed to get 2 out of that one. Careful bit of planning. Right, so next what we're going to do is some more cutting. I'm going to change over to smaller scissors. And first of all, on this piece, which is where we've cut off by the score line, we are going to cut away this long, thin oblong. So first of all, straight line up, and then slight mitre down to take that off. And now I'm going to do a little bit of a mitre on that side as well. Now on this one, the next score line, I'm going to do a straight line up first, and then I'm going to do a mitre off on the side, because this is going to be a tab that we're going to be gluing down. And then on this one we also need to cut out our oblong, long thin oblong, so we do the same. First of all, cut up nice and straight, and then cut a mitre off there, and then cut a mitre off on the side on that one. And a straight line up, and then a mitre. Okay, so that's all the cutting that we need to do. Now we need to fold this. We need our bone folder. So we fold over on all our score marks. Just double check to make sure that your creases are all lining up properly. Now before we start adding glue, just make sure that you've folded both pieces the right way round. So this piece goes together like this, then this piece will go together, let's lean that up against that, will go like that. So then you will put the two pieces like that. That will be how your box gets formed. Okay. Because we had to fold one piece, turn one piece over for the 5.5 inch score, it's possible that you'll fold this in the wrong direction, which at this stage, if you have folded it in the wrong direction, you've got time to change it and do it the right way round. But assuming that you haven't folded it incorrectly, I am going to use red sticky strip for the side of my box. You can use fast fuse. You could also use good old Tombow. It's just that I think it's quite a large piece to use Tombow for on this occasion. I will be using it later for the base of the box. Okay, so that's both the outsides of the box, yep. And we get that adhered together first. So just make sure that's onto the cardstock nice and solid. Either use your band folder or your fingernail. So we'll do the long piece first. There we go. I'm removing the backing for the red sticky strip. Now I'm going to pop this on the top. What you need to do is make sure that that line there is lining up with the end there. The fold is lining up with that fold, and this point should come to the end of the box there. And what will happen is, because this is angled, you're going to have a little bit showing here, but that's okay because we're just going to cut that piece off. Okay, so my bottom line is okay, my fold is lining up, and that is running all the way along there. Now with the piece that is running off here, you just need to cut that off. Now, got a little bit sticking off there as well. It shouldn't be there. We'll cut it off then. Right, so what we're going to do now is take this piece off, and we should be able to just close the other side on top of it, and it should work nicely. I can see I've got a little bit of tape, glue going over there, so I'm just rolling it back. Okay, so if you close that down, that should just come down and meet up nicely, which it does. And therefore all we need to do now is to pop those in, that, and there's our box. So first of all, I'm going to put a little bit of Tombow on these two. And then pop one long side down on it, it doesn't matter which one. Pop the other one over, and then just look inside your box to make sure it's straight, and then use your bone folder just to push those pieces down. How I got the backing of a dimensional in my box, I have no idea. Come on. I think it must have come out either that or it's clinging onto the sides somewhere. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Tombow on this piece, near to the edges, but not right on the edges. Oh, I can see it. Oh, well, it's going to have to stay there. Right, so that is our box made. Really nice and easy. There we go. So the way I do the sides for this is quite straightforward, but one thing for you to think about is if you're going to do multiple of these and adhere them all together, like adhering that so you've got like several, it isn't really necessary to do the inside bits. I am doing both sides, partly so that I can show you what I'm doing, but also because I think it does make it a lot more solid. This is quite flimsy, but when it's adhered with others, it's going to be fine. But the choice is yours. As I say, I'm doing it anyway so that I can show you, but I would probably do it anyway. So I'm going to start off with my 2 pieces of Whisper White and my 2 pieces of Designer Series paper. Now what you need to do is, if you pop those two pieces against each other, okay, they are a tad out, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. And then what you need to do on the Whisper White pieces, you need to measure 3 3/8 inches up, which is 6 centimeters. Okay, so that's 3 3/8, which is there. And with my pencil, I'm going to do a mark on both sides. And I'm going to put a little cross there and a little cross there. Then I'm going to take my two pieces of Designer Series paper, make sure that's lined up. Right, now that I need to measure 3 1/4 inches up, which is 5.7 centimeters. Okay, so that's 3 1/4. Measure that, both sides. Okay, so I've got a pencil mark on both sides here. Don't know if you can see that, can you? Let me bring it up to you. Okay, both pieces are almost against each other. Yep, you can see that. Alright, but keeping them like that, once you've got your marks there, you also need a little cross in those corners. You'll see why as we go along. Right, so next you're going to need your trimmer. And there we go. So we take the Whisper White pieces first, and that point that's got the cross in it, that needs to go right into the cutting line, and the 3 3/8 mark has got to come into the cutting mark as well. So let's get that in position first. Swing this round, get this one back round. That looks right, so that's okay, and that's okay, so slice that, and then the other piece, that mark goes in the cutting track, and this piece with the cross comes down to the cutting line as well. Okay, so that's in, that's in. Okay, so you should have two pieces that are opposite. And then we're going to do the same to the Designer Series paper. This is always a bit of a game, trying to find where you put your marks. Well, I can see one there, and that's the cross. So my mark goes up there, and the cross comes down into this corner. Yes. Okay, so there's that one. And then on this one, the pencil mark is here, and the cross is down here. So, get the pencil mark in the first, and then the cross. There we go. And then you have the two pieces again. Okay. That's all we need for the trimmer. Now what I forgot to tell you about the box was to remove your pencil marks, which doesn't look as if I've got any. That should have been done. The previous one I didn't do it until afterwards, and it was relatively easy to remove it. Now I'm going to remove the pencil marks off of here. So there's that one, the cross. And that one. That one. That one. So I'm just going to adhere all of these pieces together. Yep. You can use fast fuse for this. If you like using tear and tape, you could use that as well. There we go. Whoops. No, 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 no. Come on. Didn't do that very straight. Oh well, let's hope that that's the side that gets stuck against another storage box. Right, let's see if I can do a bit better on this one. Much better. That could always be an end one, don't mind that being visible. Right. Right, so we're going to pop these onto the box now. This long one obviously is for the spine, the back spine. I'm not sure there's a right or wrong way which this pattern should be going. One of the things I love about Stampin' Up designs, you don't have to worry about things like that. Right, just lay it down this way to give it a little bit of a push to get it against the cardstock, and one piece for the front. Now the side pieces. See, it's a very, very quick project, and it's a very easy one as well. In fact, the only little bit that you really need to think about is the bit that I've added, which is these side bits. But They work out well, look. Once you've popped it on, just give it a press from the inside there. There we go. So that's my box for today. Really pleased with that. Let's put my embossing folders in there, and I would get my boxes adhered together like that. So, oh, let me just show you the dividers. In fact, I might use dividers to separate the embossing folders, because we've got different kinds. We've got the 6-inch, we've got the smaller ones, and we now have the dynamic ones. So I could label all of those. Right, this is the new tag punch that we're using. I'll put the proper name downstairs. And to show you how to get as many as possible out of here, first of all, I take one from there. It is a little bit of a challenge, and there are times when I go right off the edge. But if it's just the straight bit, it doesn't really matter, because that bit's not going to be seen. Okay, so I've got 2 pieces out of that. Now this one, I can get one from there. I'm going to go as far down this end as I can to get one. In fact, I haven't come off the edge at all so far. Let's just cut that piece off. And then there we go, 5. So hardly any waste at all. So all you need to do is just fold these in half. And if you're doing Caroline's one, which is for the designer series paper, what Caroline did was she took her packets of designer series paper, and then she took a sample of each packet, a sample that she felt that she would recognise easily, and she punched out 2 3/4-inch circles. Adhered one back and one front. And then to attach these to the index sheet, which is what I'm going to be calling this, you put glue on both sides. There are 3 ways of putting these tabs on. One is to keep them all lined up in the same place. Right, there we go. So you just need to get this little straight bit here, and then that's what shows out. So you can get them all lined up in the same line here. You can space them out evenly like this, or you just put them on anywhere, whichever way you like. So there we go, that's today's project. Many thanks to Caroline for the idea. It's absolutely superb. If you have any questions, please leave them in the box below the video. I'm always very happy to help you, to answer any questions. If you'd like to purchase any of the products that I featured here today, I'll put a link in the box below, so that'll take you straight to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. If you've enjoyed my video and would like to be notified every time upload a new one, which is normally Wednesdays and Sundays, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And finally, I will put in the box below all the measurements, all the score lines and everything you need to know to make this box available in the box below. So all you need to do is, below the video on the right hand side, you'll see two small arrows, down arrows. If you click on the second one, that'll open the box up and all the information will be in there. And also I'll put a link in there to Caroline's website too. So many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.